Good morning, my friends. Yes, it is morning and I am baking. Today, we are making a lightened up version of stir and drop sugar cookies. This is a family favorite recipe and they're really not horrible to begin with. They're 2 points for one and I believe it's 5 points for two, made the regular way. But I wanted to try to lighten them up a little bit. So I made a couple substitutions and we're gonna try it out and see what happens. So let's get started baking. Okay, let's get started on these cookies. You're not gonna believe how easy they are. First thing we need, 2 eggs without the shells. And I did it again. Next thing we need, the original recipe calls for 2/3 cup of oil. I'm going to use 1/3 cup of oil. That's just canola oil. And then I'm going to use 1/3 cup of applesauce. I don't want to replace the oil completely because I really think it'll need some oil. And then we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of vanilla. How's that for measuring? And we are going to whisk it all together. Then we're going to add in 3/4 cups of the Lacano monk fruit sweetener. It measures cup for cup, just like real sugar. Blend that up. Then we are going to stir in 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. This recipe was given to me actually by 2 people right when I first got married. It was given to me by my cousin Monica and my mother-in-law. And it is a nice, quick, easy recipe. The cookies are not overly sweet. And it was one that I made with the boys constantly while they were growing up because it doesn't need a mixer. You don't have to cream butter and sugar. And it was just a quick, easy recipe to make if we were in the mood for baking. Now I do notice that the dough is a little stickier than it normally is, and I'm guessing that's one of the substitutions. So that's all there is to mixing the batter. So let's get some on the cookie sheet. I use my Pampered Chef baking stones for cookies. Normally, I do not, when I make these, I do not grease the sheet or spray the sheet. But because there's less oil in these, I decided it might not be a bad idea. And I'm just going to use my cookie scoop. And we're going to portion them out. This is the best invention ever. It measures perfectly 1 tablespoon. This dough is a little bit sticky. I'm going to get a bowl of water. And if you just wet the cookie scoop in the bowl of water, the cookies release easier. As always, I do have the products I use in my kitchen linked in the description box below, right on my Amazon store if there is anything you'd like to check out. I get a lot of questions when I use my roux whisk, my flat whisk. Okay, so once you have them all out, the next thing I like to do is flatten them out a little and then decorate them. Let me show you how I do that. I have a 1/4 teaspoon of canola oil in this bowl, and I just put a little on my finger and then put a little on a flat bottom glass. And just a tiny little bit, whoops, flatten them down a little bit. They don't usually stick to the glass, but because I greased the sheet, they're sticking to the glass. So maybe we'll just, there we go, flatten them down a little with our finger. Just so they cook nice and evenly. You can also dip if you don't want to decorate them each individually, you can dip the glass in the oil and then in some colored sugar and just stamp it on that way. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my different jimmies and using honestly less than a point. I'm just going to sprinkle I think you can have up to a teaspoon for a point. We're not even putting that many on here. Just something little to give it some festive color. Some nonpareils. And then on the last couple, just going to use some red sugar. So there we have it. They're going to go into the oven for 8 to 10 minutes until they're just starting to brown. You don't want them to get brown. You want them to stay the nice light color, but be baked. So I'm going to pop them in and I will show you what they look like when they come out. Okay, just took them out of the oven. I kept them in for a total of 9 minutes. I tend to like my cookies a little underbaked. There's the other side. See, they're just starting to get a tiny bit brown around the edges. So I'll wait till I taste one and decide if I should have left them in longer or not. Try to get these cooled down quickly while the other batch is still in there. And you should get 42 cookies, 3½ dozen out of one recipe. So there they are. We're going to let these cool down and give them a taste test and see if the little experiment worked. Okay. Well, I wouldn't say it's an epic fail, but I wouldn't say it's an epic win either. They're not as sweet. You know, monk fruit is supposed to be the 1-for-1 with sugar. And yes, it measures 1-for-1, but it doesn't necessarily give the sweetness that sugar does. They're more like a tea cake or a tea biscuit than a cookie. They're good. They have good flavor, but they're just not sweet. So what I'm thinking is maybe trying them again, maybe adding, I don't know, something to make them a little sweeter. Like, I know, like, Sweet and Low is really sweet. So I'm thinking maybe if I add a couple packages of that, it would up the sweetness. Or not put Jimmy's or nonpareils on them, but put a little icing on them, like a little buttercream, which probably would not change the points at all. If I used a 0-point confectioner sugar, like monk fruit or Swerve, and then 2 tablespoons of light butter. That should be actually probably 1 tablespoon of light butter, and a 1/4 cup of the sugar would be more than enough to frost 3½ dozen. That may help. They're definitely, the texture's a little different. They're a little cakey, and I'm assuming that's from the oil being replaced by, half of the oil being replaced by applesauce. I don't know if you can see that. But I mean, they have a good texture. They're just a little bit different. So, like I said, not an epic fail, not an epic win. If you want to give them a try, go ahead. I ended up, I don't think I told you, I ended up baking them 400 degrees for about 8 to 9 minutes. You need to check on them starting at 7 because they do go quickly. And the points break down for blue and purple: 1 cookie, 1 point, 2 cookies, 2 points, 3 cookies, 3 points, 4 cookies, 4 points. And on the green plan, 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 cookies are 4 points, 4 cookies are 5 points. So just a little bit different because of the egg. So that's it. Hello, Adam.
Hi.
Adam's getting ready to leave for school. So that's it. Like I said, not an epic win, but not an epic fail. I will mess around with it probably a little bit more and see what I can do. So there you have it. The makeover stir and drop sugar cookies. Have a great day, and if you like my videos, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and share.